Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to today's AFK journey video. So we are on our VN free-to-play account and let's run through this heroic gauntlet battle for tomorrow on a global server, which includes the Elite Wolven Ambusher right here. So looking at this boss battle, like previously mentioned, the challenge mission is not unlocked yet, so I will be doing a separate video for the heroic gauntlet challenge mission separately, and then we will run through all the different teams that you can be using for the heroic gauntlet run for this boss fight, because we are done with this battle and we have a few ideas as to what the units you can use. So without further ado, let's run through Elite Wolven Ambusher's ability and then talk about the units or teams you want to use. So looking at the enhanced ability, replaces wolf summons during battle with 4 Wolven Ambushers summoned at the start of the battle, while the Elite Wolven Ambusher and Summon Wolven Ambushers remain undamaged. They each gain 30% attack per second, and after remaining undamaged for 5 seconds, they also gain 20 haste and life drain. So these buffs are removed if they take damage. So you kind of want to have AoE damage over here. These are the recommended units to remove that additional buffs, because the additional buffs on like 5 units is quite crazy and can bring down your units really fast. And then if we were to take a look at Elite Wolven Ambusher's ability, so the second skill will be replaced by the enhanced skill. So the third skill for Elite Wolven Ambusher is this 35 defense penetration and 15% damage reduction if an allied wolf companion is on an adjacent tile. So this makes this Wolven Ambusher a very fast rushing boss unit, and combined with the ultimate, this unit has 600 energy, which allows this Elite Wolven Ambusher to pounce at your rearmost enemy with all the Wolven Ambusher on the field to deal damage. And if the Wolven Ambusher on the field uses Tearing Claw for the next 6 seconds, gains 20 haste along with other Wolven Ambushers on the field and prioritizes attacking this enemy. Okay, so for this ability right here, very simple. At the start of battle, the wolf together with all the summons will rush to your rearmost enemy and then chomp on your rearmost enemy to kill it really quickly. So this is where positioning of your rearmost unit is quite important, and usually you want a tanky unit or a unit with stats or units that can survive in that position that the Wolven Ambusher is trying to rush to. So without further ado, let's showcase 4 team ideas that you can use for this boss fight right here. So first of all, let's start with the safest and the easiest option for most, and that is none other than the Iron Armor's Ardent team right here. So right here, you want to have, I'll say, at least 1 sustain in the team to make sure that your team has some sort of heals to survive the initial barrage and then win the fight from there. And luckily for us, if you have the surging spell, this artifact provides quite a bit of defensive stats with shielding as well as AoE damage, which will help with removing the Elite Wolven Ambusher's enhanced ability on the second skill right here. So this is not shown here, but it is enhanced in the previous page. So you can use this, or you can use the Frostfall spell. So Frostfall spell gives you that AoE damage, which is also able to prevent that debuff. Prevent that attack buff on the summons from happening. So this is one artifact you can use. But I think this surging spell is the more reliable one. So for this one, we'll be using surging spell. And then we will be including Carolina. So the reason why we put our armors here is because the wolf as well as the wolf pack will just rush to the back line. So just put your tank or your tanker unit in this tile and you should be good. So without further ado, let's start this battle. Okay, so the thing about this boss fight is at the start of battle, you realize that the wolves, they are unaffected. Okay, so the charge happens after a little bit, so that's where Carolina fell, unfortunately. So I think we have to reposition our unit a little bit so that we are able to survive better. But for this boss fight over here, with regards to the boss fight, the boss won't summon the wolf once again, and the wolf is unaffected by the control abilities. So if you're using Iron Armor's Ardent team, it is mostly for the AoE damage prowess of the team over that control ability. So that's one thing to take note of. And once you kill off the 4 summons, they will not be summoned again. So as long as you're able to survive that initial barrage where the wolf actually charge at your rearmost unit, like from this ability right here, I think you are good to go, right? You will be able to survive the full fight and then slowly bring the boss down from here. So that's what happened here. Even though the boss actually rushed down Carolina, but we are able to actually have 3 units still alive, and then we just push down to win the fight from here. Okay. So this is team number 1, Iron Armor's Ardent Control. So if you have this team, just use it. For Karana's case, you can use Hewin. You can also use a Mauler team. I think Mauler teams in general, I think they work pretty well against this boss, especially because the Maulers has a whole bunch of sustain and heals. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put a Ludovic here. So Ludovic will be all the damage bait, but we will still have our core of the team, which is our dear Smokey, Coco together with Rowan. So usually the team will be with OD, but then for OD's case, you can definitely still use OD. But I think if you put Ludovic here, you will be able to just heal up your whole team and then just burn the boss down or burn the units down with the Frost Fall spell right here. So without further ado, let's start the battle. So they'll rush forward. Then the boss will cast the ultimate, which will cause all of them to go after Ludovic right here. But as you guys can see, we have a whole bunch of sustain, damage reduction, as well as Rowan's potion. So our Ludovic survive, and then they just spam their skills to bring down the boss or the units with the Frostfall spell right here. So this is team idea number 2 for the Mauler users with all these Mauler units built up. For Ludovic's place, I think you can also use Anthendra. I think Antendra's okay, but if you're using Anthendra, similar to Almas, what will happen is if you're using Anthendra, Anthendra will actually run up to the front line. So when the boss is ready to cast the ultimate, your backmost unit might end up being Coco. Yeah, so what you want to do is maybe reposition your units a little bit forward, maybe something like this for example, or something like this for example, and then have your Anthendra position pretty backwards so that when the boss casts the skill, the boss will go after your Anthendra tank. So that's for the Mauler team. Another team that I think you guys can definitely use would be the Graveborn team. So Graveborn has Bonnie, so pretty good AoE. We also have Viperion as well. We also have Torrent, which is quite a good tank. But what we're going to do is this. We're going to do this, right? We're going to link Viperion to our Fresto right here. So another unit which is quite strong is Igor. But Igor jumps around a lot, so I don't think Igor's a good bait for the boss fight. So we're going to use Viperion instead. And then yeah, we might actually want a healer for us. So we're going to use probably Hugin here, I guess. So without further ado, let's go with Surging Spell for this one. Let's start this run. Okay. So unfortunately for this boss fight, at the start of the battle, you are not able to throw Bonnie's debuff immediately, right? So because they're unaffected, they don't take damage. But the Bonnie's ultimate is a pretty massive AoE damage, which will actually help you kill off the summons really fast. And that's where, if you have Ludovic, use Ludovic. If you have other healers, use other healers. Your AoE damage from Viperion as well as your AoE damage from your Igor, even your Bonnie, should be able to kill the stage from here. Okay. Okay, so for this part, I wanted to add on a team where I'm not relying too much on Supreme Plus units. So for those of you guys who have been like posting questions on, hey Zip, like I don't have XXX unit, my unit is not strong enough, what combination can I use? So for this very last team, I'll use some of the least invested unit or the lesser invested unit to showcase the run. But after a few testing, I think if you have a Supreme Plus unit, at least in the carrying compartment, you might want to build a team to protect your carry. For example, for me, I'll be using OD as the carry for my team, and then we'll be using the other low rarity units, like for example Brutus for the inbound, for the defense reduction, as well as the Mauler attack. We'll be using Hodgkin for that respite ability for physical immunity, as well as our dear Anthendra over here, which is a pretty decent unit against physical attackers. So this will give me the Mauler attack with the healer from Rowan over here. So with the heals and potions from Rowan right here. Then we'll be using Surging Spell for the stats as well as the damage and the shield. So without further ado, let's start this one. So this one, if it works here, it probably works for everyone because these are all the mythic units. So these are all my uninvested unit. So Rowan right there got melted almost immediately. Okay, but with OD, I think we should be in a good spot because we do have damage in OD. Yeah, and the wolf is actually single target, so it probably won't target other units. and then we are able to win the fight here. So yeah, this team should work for everyone in case all the other previous team doesn't work for you, as long as you have one copy of these units, because they will be automatically upgraded to this tier for this fight over here. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.